Welcome back to another episode of the Good Intentions Podcast. It's your girl, Queen Cass.
And it's your girl, Giddy Love. And if this is your first time listening to our podcast, don't forget to follow us on IG at Good Intentions Pod and also on YouTube at Good Intentions Podcast. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Yeah.
So we're back with another episode, and we have a lovely guest with us today. Woo, claps, insert here. Or producer, don't worry. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hey, my name is Queen Baleen. Everyone knows me as Bay. I am a blogger and a self-love enthusiast and a mega like black activist. I'm all for like the black community. My blog is really geared towards like the self-love and self-care journey that black women take. So it's really just a place for black women to take a effing break. So
What's your blog called?
The Everythinger, because I feel like black women are everything. They do everything. We're like mothers, sisters, teachers, employers. We do everything in the community. So
You don't feel like other races are...
that ain't my problem. I don't speak
Ooh,
for them.
I love it.
I don't speak for them.
Right, I love that.
Okay.
Love that.
Yikes. They might go ahead and bash me over here talking about what's she talking about.
No, I like that.
I mean, she started off with saying she get canceled a lot.
Right.
So
I do.
How do you like that?
Get canceled? I'm not for everybody. You know, all kinfolk ain't skin. You know, like that's fine. Like that's perfectly. Not everyone's gonna be in my corner. Me and my family, we already know that. We believe in specific things, and people just be like, "Nah, that's ignorance." Like, well, you know, it is what it is. So,
What's the most recent thing that got you canceled?
let me see. It would have to be me saying that I would rather, like, I don't care how much money I make or whatever. When I get married, my man is still going to be the head of the household. And it was like, that don't make no sense. I was like, oh, okay.
But why would you get canceled for that?
Because a lot of women think, oh, if I make more money than my man, then he's not the head. I'm just like, yeah, I have to understand, like, a man going to lead. Like, that's just who he is as a person. You can't degrade and demean him.
Right.
He's not going to want to be around you. So it was like, oh, I don't agree with that. So I got canceled on Twitter. I lost, like, 50 followers. I was like, oh, okay.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I was like, that's fine. But I gained like 10. But still, that's not.
Minus setback.
So, yeah.
Oh,
But
Lord. That cancel culture is interesting.
Brutal.
it is brutal. But I don't think like people don't give people the time to like redeem themselves when it comes to cancel culture. So, yeah. But that's just.
Do you take it personal?
No, because I don't know you. Like, even if I did, I'd be like, okay. So.
It is what it is.
Yeah, it's never personal.
Okay, so lately we've been seeing a lot of, I ain't gonna say stars, but a lot of celebrities. Even
Influencers. Influencers.
People,
Yeah.
Influencers
go with that
getting
one.
canceled. For example, b.simone.
B.simone.
Yeah.
She got canceled thrice. That's 3 times.
She got canceled what?
Thrice.
Okay.
Not twice. Thrice within a 1-week period, because she just be foolishness after foolishness. How do you feel about that? Does she deserve to be canceled?
Oh, she definitely did. Let me tell you why. Let me
Tell us why.
let me backtrack for a little bit. So, you know, when the whole entire like protesting and the rioting and the looting started, she was like, "Oh, I don't feel like that's a way to go about it, whatever." And she was like, "Oh, I feel like I shouldn't talk about it." And she put her religion.
She said as a Christian. Yeah.
And I was like, what doesn't make sense is you can go on live or go on stage and talk about sucking dick, all that stuff. But when it comes to talking about something that is really sensitive to the black community, you're like, oh, I can't talk about it. That's pure ignorance. So you're canceled because now you sound like a hypocrite. No one wants to listen to you. That she deserved that. And
but
then,
she redeemed herself after, because she was out in the streets trying to protest, whether it was authentic or not.
It wasn't authentic.
But she was still out supporting the movement, you know?
She had to go out.
Because she was like, I feel like this was the best way to do it. So she created this whole protesting, rallying, whatever. And she brought in, Desi Banks, who deserved to be canceled as well. And I'm just like, I see what you're trying to do, but you didn't even come back to the fact and say, you know what, I was wrong, you guys. She didn't apologize. She has a lot of pride. And that's not going to get her far in life at all. And then that tied into her, like, people started digging into, like, her book.
Right.
I think I disagree with the whole she didn't apologize. I don't agree with her, I agree with her being canceled, but even in the cancel culture, I feel like when they apologize, it's still not enough because they still talk smack. It's like, oh, well, now you're apologizing, you're doing this, you're doing that.
I don't know.
I still think you should apologize whether people take it or not.
But people, nah.
Because, like, for me, like,
people don't know what they want right now. Because it's like, you get an apology, they talk smack about it.
But my thing is, when you apologize, it's like, I was wrong. Whether people take it or not, I think you should apologize.
Because I feel like it shows growth. Like, for people who are mature and who are educated, they see that person apologize and they're like, okay, they know what they did wrong, so they're trying to grow. So that's why I took Desi Banks. I'm like, okay, he understood. You know, the only person apology I did not take was, what's her name?
Tokyo Jets. I know who you're gonna talk about.
No, not Tokyo Jets. Shekinah, that's her name.
Shekinah.
Yes, I didn't accept her apology because she said, her video was edited. I'm like, sis, you were on live. Like, how could you lie like that and say your video was edited? That's someone's apology who didn't really take action for what she said. I was like, nah.
You back to the point I was trying to make. It's like, we say we want an apology.
Right.
Then when they do apologize, it's like, oh, well, it wasn't enough.
I still think you should put an apology out. Whether people take it or not, you have to own up to what you did.
Let's agree to disagree.
I mean, because I think you should apologize if you did something wrong.
Exactly. We're agreeing to disagree.
But yeah, b.simone just deserved to be totally canceled. The whole book, when it led into her book thing, I was like, you deserve that, because she was like, oh, I didn't know what was going on, but people were bringing back receipts. Like, you said you stayed up to 3:00 in the morning saying you were working on the book. So what's the truth? So it's like,
for that, I just didn't appreciate the lack of accountability, because she kind of put it all on her team.
Yeah,
it was just like, oh, I didn't know this.
And this is a book that she talks so highly about.
And it's your name on it. You know,
it's
regardless,
not your team's name.
Right?
It's your name. It's by b.simone, not b.simone's team. So you know what I mean. So she just deserved like that. Yeah, she's totally canceled on my book. I don't even follow her no more because I used to like her, but
I mean, I was not really a big fan. I was happy when she made that little million, but once again,
she was in your
honorary.
I mean, I'm still rooting for her. Like, she can still redeem herself.
I feel like she just needs to grow. You know what I mean? Because I feel like she came into this. She was trying to think of like quick ways to. I feel like she stayed within her lane and like manifested within what her true calling was. She would have been fine, but.
So while we on here, let's touch about you're a hopeless romantic, but you don't believe in love. Tell me more.
Okay, so I should rephrase that. So I'm a hopeless romantic where I love like romance movies. I love romance books, but I feel like romance in the real world is like totally non-existent. It does not exist. I don't know if it's because I've never experienced it wholeheartedly, but like I feel like romance does not exist in my world at all. So I've never been like wined and dined or anything like that. So for me, it's like, I feel like, yeah, you can fall in love with the person, but for me, I've never fallen in love with a person because they were like totally romantics, because I got to know them, if that makes sense. Yeah. So I've never had like, oh, someone bring me flowers, or someone, you know, took me on a, you know, getaway or anything like that. So, but I really love romance books, because when I read romance books or I watch a romance movie, I get to crying. Yeah. Like, I really am a baby. I get to boo-hooing. It's really embarrassing, but.
I'm the same way. Well, but I'm a big romance person too. But I just keep hoping that the right guy will come along, and I'll get that. Yeah. What else could it be?
Well, I just know he's going to come along for me. So that's what's keeping me going.
I love that song. Coming. Yeah.
So that's what it is about.
Do you think you've given hope on romance?
Like, have I given up on it? Mm-hmm. Totally. Like, if a guy were to come to me and started doing certain stuff, and I think because I've been through some stuff, if a guy started doing certain stuff, I'm like, give me your phone. Let me see your phone real quick, because that make no sense why you doing all this. Like, what you hiding? Give me your phone. You know. So, but some people keep telling me, like, you know, it's just that I have to really, like, be open to it. Right. Because I feel like most of the times guys do romantic. I mean, because I know I'm romantic myself. So I always want to do certain stuff. Like, oh, if you tell me you like to do this, I'm like, oh, let me make sure I do this for him. Because I really feel I need to make you feel, you know, how I feel about you, you know? So, like, I want you to see and, like, experience, like, my feelings for you. But it's never been reciprocated.
It has to be reciprocated.
It's never. And then I hate when I demand it, because it feels like I'm begging, and then I have to drop you, because I feel like I should not be begging for something that is required. Right. So
especially when you do it.
Exactly. So, and I do it with no questions asked.
Do you truly believe that as women we can have it all?
Oh, yes.
We can have it all except for the romantic?
No,
aspect,
I mean, like,
or,
I feel like,
you know?
for me, I can't. I don't think I'm meant to have it all. Like, for me, I don't think so.
Really?
But I really don't, because I don't know if it's because what I'm passionate about, or like the circle I run around, or like the things I do. But I feel like I'm never gonna find a guy that's gonna be like, Baleen, clear schedule on Tuesday night. I'm taking you out, and then I'll hop on a private jet, because I'm gonna like that. But I feel like that's not. I feel like that's not gonna happen for me, you know.
Really?
But I feel like my friends, I see my friends like, they experience stuff like that. I'm like, oh, that's so cute. You know?
So why not you?
Right.
Why do you not?
I don't know, because I'm not, because I've given up, that I'm not open to it. I don't know if that men sense that, oh, this girl's not for it. Like, I just don't think it's, so yeah.
So,
I ain't gonna hold you, sis. I want better for you. I want you. Because you're not what your past, you're not what you went through. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And especially, like, I'm a big believer in the universe, and, like, putting out that energy that you want to receive.
Manifestation.
So if you're sitting here, that's not gonna happen to you. It's really not gonna happen.
Yeah, I mean, it got to the point where I'm just like, I'm okay with that.
But
like,
would that contradict, like, what you have going on and the message that you're trying to put out? If you don't believe that you're capable of getting deserving of that, then how then do you expect your supporters to believe it?
The thing is, I'm not saying I don't deserve it. I just don't see it happening. Because I know I deserve it. Because most of the time when and that's the reason why I'm single now. Because I feel like maybe, this is why I'm like, I might be single for the rest of my life. I'm like, maybe it is out there. But I just haven't found it. That's why it's like I was saying earlier, like, you get 3 strikes. So, like, if it comes to the point where I have to keep demanding, I'm like, I'm not doing this.
Right.
So, like, that's the reason why, like, I keep going, and it turns into, oh, we're talking, and it's like, I'm getting to know you, and if you don't show anything that's like remotely like intimate, like you can be intimate with me, it's like, I don't want anything to do with you, because intimacy is more than just sex. So, but for me, like, the self-love journey, like, I really deeply take care of myself, you know what I mean? So, like, that's why I'm aware of, like, all the things that I lack, or I have a problem with, or I need to work on, you know, along with therapy. Shout out to therapists, all Black therapists, all out there. So, like, on top of therapy, like, I realize a lot of things that I do, like, lack, I need to work on, but that doesn't take away from my message of you need to take care of yourself mentally and emotionally and spiritually, you know what I mean? So that doesn't really take away, but it's more like, I just don't see, you know, maybe I need to go ahead and move out of Florida. Maybe Florida men ain't romantic, you know? Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
So
I get it. I ain't gonna hold you. Especially when you've had, like, bad experience or past experiences.
Yeah. After my last ex, you wasn't seeing me dating that much.
Let me tell you. Let me give you a little bit of hope. I have a whole child here out in these streets, and I'm still out here. I'm not giving up. Like, I know I deserve better, and I will get better. And I mean, I just hope the same for you too. You know, but you got to start believing it. So, anyways, Cassie, that was rude.
No, that's how I feel. Like, when you find your person finally at last. Your love, I don't know. I've manifested my dream guy, like everything I want him to have, like down to financial stability, because that's a big requirement for me now. Now, it don't matter how good your dick is. It don't matter how lovely you are, how romantic. I need to be financially taken care of, especially we're older now. Yeah. To, like, how he's gonna joke with me, and then to me, it's like, if I can think about it, why can't I get it? Yeah. But some days I'm like, damn, what the fuck? Yeah. Let me settle for one of these jokers.
Do you think you're probably too independent for these guys? Like, they're scared?
Not necessarily. I don't think so, because a lot of times, a lot of people feel like, oh, you could be independent. Independent means that you do take care of yourself. You know how to, you know, but I feel like that shouldn't, because a lot of the guys the 2 men that I'm casually talking to or dating at the moment, me being independent doesn't really, like, deter them away from me. They're like, it kind of attracts them. They're like, oh, so she could take care of, so it makes them want to take care of me, if that makes sense. So, I mean, they ain't cut a check yet. I ain't no city girl. I'd be like, nah, just vibe.
What but city girl say? Broke niggas don't deserve no pussy. Oh my God. I felt that. Go ahead, keep going.
But I do feel like I'm independent because, like, no one else pays my bills but me. I mean, I moved out last year, and it's just been me and my puppy. Like, and she drives me crazy. I'm ready to give up. But, like, it's just me and her. And I feel like, because I was talking to one guy, he told me, oh, I don't need him. And I was like,
you don't.
I was like, why would you want a woman that depends on and just needs you? You know what I mean? Like, you shouldn't want that, because that means you can control everything about me. Right. Like, no. So, yeah. But most of the time, like, that me being independent doesn't like serve as a problem. It's okay, you know. If it's a strong guy, you know, mentally and emotionally, who's mature, it doesn't bother them.
Right.
But if a guy needs to control his woman, they'll be like, I need you to quit that job. And they'll be like, oh.
You know, there's some of my friends are in relationships like that, or are with guys like that, where it's like they're threatened by what they got going on.
That's
kind of scary. Abuse, hikey.
That's financial manipulation. It's really like if the guy you're with doesn't like the fact that you have an independent life outside of him, you know, it serves as a problem because it's like you can't do anything.
Do this right. You can't do that.
Obviously, like when you're married, you're not gonna do the same stuff that you usually do. But like you shouldn't feel threatened at the fact that your girl like has a job, or if she has friends and wants to go out with her friends to have a drink at Chili's or whatever. Like, it's not KOD, you know? So
even if it was KOD, you should trust your wife enough to go.
I think it's case by case too. I think whatever you allow, that's what it is.
And it will like flourish and become, it'll grow into something.
Fester,
I ain't going for that. So
I ain't gonna hold you. I don't know, child. Okay, so moving on. Traditional women versus an independent woman. Look at your face. Tell us.
Yeah.
Because your face already says it all.
Okay, so when you think of traditional women, most of the time people go back to like, the Bible, right? Like if you have like a strong biblical, like, religious upbringing, you're going to think of a traditional woman mean a woman that, submits to her husband, that, cooks and cleans and does all the stuff. She doesn't do anything else, And I feel like that's kind of like a fallacy because that's what was like, produced and given to us via media. You always seem like a housewife or whatever, but back in the day, like some housewives, they did work as well. You know what I mean? So like you have that, and then you have like independent modern women, which are women like us who have like our degrees and who are like working. We are independent and we're just doing our own thing. And the thing is that I feel like you can be an independent woman who has all that, and you have like traditional values, if that makes sense. So the two that's one of the biggest like arguments that you have going on. Like if you grow up in a two parent household and you see like a traditional, like for me, my mom was a stay-at-home mom for like 20 something years. She never worked because like she had 6 kids back to back and my dad was taking care of everything. And then when you grow up,
that's how my mom was too.
And when you grow up and, my parents, they got a divorce. I forgot how old I was, but like my mom had nothing to fall back on. And that kind of fueled my drive to be successful and be this independent person, because she was struggling so much that she could not find like a job and kind of like care for all of us. I was like, that could never be me. I need to have some type of experience. So that kind of like strived me to be like this independent person. But because I grew up in a 2-parent household initially, I still have like traditional values. So I feel like, of course I could be independent, I can do this, but my man is still going to be the man of the house. Like I'm still going to, so I feel like the two kind of, it becomes a really big, because whenever I have this conversation, you're like, well, I feel like a woman shouldn't have to, have traditional values if she's independent. A man should just go along with it. What man is going to follow a woman? That just doesn't make sense. Like,
I mean, there's some out there, but like,
yeah, but I don't want no man that's gonna be like, yes, baby, of course, anything you want. This is weird.
I have been like researching and whatnot, like the men who are with women who are more independent and are making more money than they are, they tend to submit. They tend to be more like, a yes babe type of person, because they're not as secure.
I mean, yes, I see that, because I feel like it probably hurts their ego. Like, well, I can't tell her to do anything anyway, because she'll be like, well, I pay all the bills in here. But I've seen relationships where a woman makes more. I'll give you an example. My cousin, she's what's that? Nurse practitioner. She's a nurse practitioner, right? She makes way more than her husband, who works security. You know what I mean? But she listens to him, like if he says, babe, we're going to do this, that, and third, it's no, well, I make more money than you, da-da-da. It's going to be, all right, babe, like, let's talk this out and see what's going to happen. And then he still, I just feel like if it becomes a way where a man doesn't feel like, not even threatened, because that's not even, because if a man is threatened, he's going to leave regardless. If it feels like it's a threat to his ego or how he is as a man, he feels emasculated, it's not going to work out. But honestly, like, most of the time a strong man's gonna be like, even though she's independent, she's my wife, she knows that either way I am gonna be the head. So I feel like it works in a lot of relationships. But some relationships, a man will be like, yes, babe, of course, whatever you. Nah, I'm gonna need my man to be like, what you say? Okay, so
I think for me, like, you know, the thing about submitting, that's one thing people like have a tough time understanding, like submitting to your husband. For me, if you're a good leader,
If
I'll
it's
submit
done right,
because
I tell people
trust you.
that's totally
I'm trusting you.
That's it. Like, a woman's not gonna follow a man just because he say he a man.
No.
That's not it. No, you gotta show, like, you have to know that man. You know what I mean? You have to
Right.
trust him and be like, of course, wherever what he says, I already know how he operates,
Right,
how it's
because
gonna
he
work.
thought
It's gonna
everything out. He
it's
has
gonna
my
work.
best interest at heart.
Exactly.
I will willingly submit to a man that I feel like
Yeah,
has
when
my
it's
best
right.
interest
Yeah,
at heart.
of
Yeah.
course. Right.
So, like,
Definitely.
that's why I tell people all the time, like, I'm not saying, oh, submit to just any guy, because that ain't gonna happen.
No,
You
I
ain't gonna
can't do it. I literally,
I can't
physically
respect you.
start doing things. If I start doing stuff,
that's not
I don't
how
see
it
you as
works.
a man.
That's not how exactly. Like, if you have to literally get to know that man. Like, it's not like the first date and he said, oh, pay for the. First of all, what you mean I'm paying for? Like, you just have to literally get to know that man to see, oh, this man really does. He is the man that I need to be with. And then when you realize that, you're gonna see everything I do. Nothing will at all. Like, nothing will go bad. That's what I see with my cousin and her husband. Every time, I have never seen them. And then if they do struggle, no one knows about it.
Right.
Like, they're like my relationship goals.
Good.
Like,
Yeah.
they are it. Like, the kid's kind of crazy, but other than that, they're it. That kid's wild. Like,
Yeah. No, I definitely, for me, and I talked about this before, like, if I find myself, like, doing stuff that you should be doing, like, if I find myself planning dates, if I find myself paying for things, I already don't see you as a man.
Yeah, I
And
don't respect you.
I don't respect you.
I don't respect you.
The
At
date
all.
might be good. I'm going to stay, but.
listen, y'all don't understand. Y'all don't
At
wanna
this
be
point,
there.
I'm not staying because it's like,
Well, not
why
in a
do
relationship, but
right?
forget that.
What? No, I ain't staying because I don't care how good it is. Like, what are you here for if I can do it myself?
Good dick.
Vibrators.
Nah, I ain't going to hold you. I ain't going to hold you.
It's just certain
No.
things a vibrator can't do, y'all.
It depends. If it's a
With my
relationship,
husband,
I'm not
no,
staying.
not a relationship.
But
I'm just saying you won't even get to a relationship with
Right.
me because I already see how you moving.
Yeah.
And you're going to stay with whatever category you're going to stay. You're
And
not going to make it.
the talking point, that point is very, very critical before you guys get into a relationship, because I feel like relationships, they manifest and they grow into, like, y'all being fiance and y'all being, like,
Right.
husband and wife. But that talking point is very, very critical. That's why I was saying earlier, like, the guy I'm talking to, I don't like planning certain stuff. Like, I really don't. If I have to plan everything, I'm going to drop you like a bad habit. Like, I do not want that. Like, that doesn't make sense. Like, why do I have to plan everything? I'm a very understanding person.
have you
know?
expressed that to him?
Oh, yes. And I'm going to express it tonight when I meet up with him. I'm going to tell him straight up, yo, what is up? Like, I understand because he works like crazy hours. And I get that. So I tell him all the time, like, I'm not asking you every week,
Right.
give me your undivided attention. I need you to plan something. I'm just asking one day out the month. You know how many days are in a month?
30
Right.
to 31.
That's all I'm asking.
Sometimes 28,
You know,
29.
Right.
But
I'm
yeah.
just asking you to give me something. Like, yeah, but
Do you feel like you're being heard? Because if you say you keep asking,
I mean, the first time I said something, but I feel like maybe I just wasn't clear. Maybe I have to break it down to his level, because he from the streets a little bit, but he kind of like a reformed. That's my type, and I feel like I need to grow out of that. But he's like a reformed hood guy, and I feel like I need to break it down to him, be like, hey, yo, I'm not playing with you. Like, you need to realize that this is this, and I need this. Like, if that does not happen, we will not work out. And so tonight, if this is strike 2, and after tonight, if nothing changes, then I got a roster.
snip.
So.
Yeah. She said she got a roster.
So as far as like independent women, like, what do you think about marriage? Like, because a lot of people think if you're independent, then most of the times nobody don't want you.
So I feel like when it comes to independent women, just because you're independent doesn't mean you don't deserve to be with somebody. So if you see a woman who has a lot going for herself and you feel like you don't want to be with her because she has a lot, that means you can't add to her.
Ooh, can you say
Right.
that
That
again,
means
please?
you have
Right.
nothing to add to her. That means you have nothing to bring to the
You gotta
table
Bring that girl down.
at all. So a lot of men are like, no, I'm not even going to talk to her. You know what I mean? So I feel like if a guy refuses to speak to a woman because she's independent, it means that she has too much and he has nothing to give. And I feel like just because you're independent doesn't mean you don't deserve to be loved or find someone who you can, share the rest of your life with.
Do you believe in like lowering your standards after you reach a certain age?
Okay, so I don't believe in lowering your standards. I really don't. But I feel like you need to find out what is a necessity and what is a requirement for you, other than, like, for example, if you say it is a requirement that the person I'm with has a strong relationship with his mother and his father. If that's a requirement, because you already know how that relationship is going to fit in and tie into your relationship. And if y'all grow and have children, you know how he would be if he was a parent, you know what I mean? But if you say, oh, my man need to be 6'3" and you 5'4", I'm gonna need you to lower that a little bit. You
I
can
like
have
6'5".
Okay.
I got it.
You can have a man
several times.
You can have a man that's, you can have a man that's 6 foot or 5'11". He don't have to be 6'5". You know what I mean? Like, I feel like there's certain things that are not a requirement or necessity for you, but you're making it that, so that's what I feel like. So I feel like not really lowering your standards, but realizing what you really need to be, in a really stable and very functional relationship.
So take a midget.
See, that's not what I said. Not what I said was.
Yeah, I didn't hear that either.
I said, if you listen, I'm telling you right now, I know this girl, she is.
Right, cancel.
I know this girl, she is 5'2", and she was like, my man need to be 6'3". I'm like, for what? That's a whole, like, that's too high.
That's what she deserves. That's what she
want to climb.
Like, he gonna break his back trying to hold you.
And
like,
that's what she wants.
Right.
I've always been the opposite. Like, I've never been into physical.
Like attraction, like physical appearances.
And that's something my therapist was like, why? I'm not saying the people I've been with have been ugly.
Right.
No. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying it wasn't really like a factor. Or actually, no, they had to grow on me. That's what it was. They had to grow on me. And my therapist was like, that don't. Never mind.
No, I want to hear it.
I want to hear it.
Sounds so interesting. I want to hear more.
Yeah.
So pretty much how it would be, it was like, okay, they're pursuing me, they're DMing me, and I'm like, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're not. What do you want?
Well, yeah. And
then over time, like, I admired her persistence, and we said, I know, girl. And I like the conversation, and I'm like, oh, bitch, okay, I guess you're kind of cute. And then my therapist was like, why do you do that?
That's so backwards.
So do you feel like it's because you don't really judge people, like, by their I guess, like, judge a book by
physical
its cover
appearance.
So it was like you're like, okay, whatever. But when you get to know them, like, their personality.
I'm definitely a personality person.
Okay.
Because even if you look at my ex, the people I've been with, there's no, like, pattern. There's no, like, look at the people I've been with. You can't see, like, there's been dark skin, there's been light skin, there's been tall.
I'm the same way.
Shut up. So now I'm trying to work on having someone I'm actually attracted to at first. Why not? Why?
No, it was just I never like thought of it that way. That's very backwards because you're not initially attracted.
That's what my therapist said. She was like, I don't like that. I said,
I need to be your therapist because everything I say, you be like, that's what my therapist said. So.
No, literally.
Yeah, but I like
pay up.
Okay, but that was a good point. So now moving forward, I want someone I'm physically attracted to first. Like, I want that, eyes locked across the room, and I saw him in my. Okay.
Yeah, like a whole Brenda Jackson. Like a whole Brenda Jackson. Okay, got it.
That's the toxic ones.
But
you can't get away.
But no, I totally agree. Because for me, like, if you not fine, I'm not even going to look. Like, for me, because I throw my shot kind of aggressively. I'm not going to lie. Just a little bit. Like, it's kind of like passive aggressive.
How do you shoot your shot? Teach me. Because I shot my shot recently, and I was left on red. And that shit hurt my heart.
But what did you say?
It's okay. I don't even want to.
She said she don't want to talk.
You didn't tell me about this.
I did. You know who I'm talking about.
Oh.
Keep going.
Okay. Okay.
Girl's booty hurt. Oh my God. I look at my phone. I said, you know the clown girl? The clown girl shit. God. It's okay. We'll talk about it later.
Okay. I don't remember.
It's okay.
So
I remember.
There's multiple ways I shoot my shot, but like most of the time, like if I'm out with friends and like we're having drinks or whatever, like if I see a cute guy from across the way and he's drinking, I'm gonna tell the waiter, hey yo, send him another drink of what he's drinking.
Oh, you like that?
And put it on my bill.
Okay.
And then they be like, the most guys are like, I didn't order this. Like, the woman over there did, and you know me, I'm looking. How you looking?
I
be like, just,
okay.
And
then raise the glass.
And I be like, and I ain't gonna lie, that's 9-10. Like that's 9-10. It's gonna work 9 times out of 10. They gonna come up to you be like, so I see you sent me a drink. I want to return the favor. It's like, what are you doing Saturday night? I'm glad you asked.
Okay.
My schedule is quite clear actually. So
yeah. That's different.
She said clear your schedule.
Look,
I mean, I don't buy drinks for them, but like if no, if I see somebody, I'm at a club or whatever, I see somebody, I like give you that little stare, and then you know how you can like kind of feel somebody looking at you. So it's like when you look at me, I give you a little smile, and then
he comes,
and then I get a drink.
Oh, I'm not gonna hold you. I have not been as aggressive as I'm going to be dating. Like things like that, like what you said. And I'm gonna keep DMing. I'm gonna keep getting rejected. One day, King, you'll be like, dang.
I've never tried that, but I think I'm gonna try it.
Three Kings,
but I'm gonna get them like a cheap drink.
From me at Three Kings,
Hey, yo, it's lit. Like,
do you get them? Like, what do you normally get them?
It's whatever they're drinking. Like I said, I usually tell, because there's a bartender, so I'd be like, hey, yo, tell the bartender whatever that guy's drinking to send him another one to put it on my tab.
No, that's an investment that
because drinks be like $10, like $13 maybe. It's okay. It's like she's like, I'm not feeling it as much.
I'm gonna try it. Three Kings, wherever, when I start open again, everybody getting drinks. What you want, King? And
then you about to call BB&T the next day.
I want to report some transactions.
No, truly.
I was not in Deerfield Beach.
Listen, right.
That's very interesting. I'm going to try it, and I'm going to let you know if it works. If it don't, you're going to refund me my money.
Wait a minute. Now, I did not. Listen, I said 9, 10. It's going to work. That 1, 10,
real quick.
That 10% my hit. And you be like, all right, she did tell me that 10% and it might not work.
So try it with 10 guys, is what she's telling you.
Wait a minute.
That's $100.
That is $100.
That's a good investment for your future.
That is not an investment.
Might be a king.
No, I can just look at him, and then he comes over, and
that's
then
not enough for
it works for me.
Right.
I mean, whatever works for her, like it'll work for her. That works for me,
I don't think I have anything that works for me.
DM.
Once again, I don't think I have anything that works for me. But I was left on red. I said,
it couldn't have been that bad what you said.
It wasn't. It was real cute, but he was not feeling it.
Dang, I can't.
It's okay.
I feel like it would be so much.
And I'm not someone who gets embarrassed easily, but I'm getting hot and embarrassed just thinking about it.
Oh my God, I'm sorry.
Let's do like a challenge. Like the audience has to do something and you'll release a message.
No.
Oh,
no.
That's great engagement, though.
That is great engagement.
Well, whatever it is, and I'll tell a story.
Dang.
Okay. Y'all gonna have to think about something because I want to know this story.
How else do you be shooting your shot?
Me? I mean, the stare thing, it depends if it's a packed club. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I usually like pass by them and I put my hand.
Too. Oh my God,
and I trip. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. They're like, "Nah, you good, Mom?" And I be like, "Oh, okay,
I do that too."
And then when I try to walk away and they like hold my hand for a little bit, I be like, "Got him."
Give them that little smile too.
I was like, I'm sorry, did I forget something? It was like, you forgot my number. Okay, what's your number, boo?
Dang, I think I gotta go out more.
I do that too, though.
Okay.
That walk.
It's just like,
and then
you be touching people unprovoked without their permission?
Look, I don't touch them.
It's crowded. What do you mean?
I don't touch them in a sexual manner. I'm talking about like I'll like pass by. I'll try to pass by and I kind of trip and then like my hands are on their chest. I'm so sorry.
Trip.
You know they.
I'm getting all the tea. Right.
You know, so I'll be like, I'm so sorry. Like,
if I fall in front of you, King,
let her fall.
Listen, I'm giving out all my tricks right now. You know, all my
Give
tricks.
us one more so I can solidify my books.
It's like, I don't know, because I don't really be in DMs.
Natural to you.
I'm gonna be in DMs like that. I'll drop like a picture or like a boomerang and the DMs flood. But most of the time I don't really drop. I don't go in DMs because I was in one person's DMs and they just wasted my time. And I was like, if I could have an Excel sheet of all the time I was wasted by some no good philandering. Anyway,
I be in DMs.
Yeah,
what do you say?
It depends. Like whatever they post, like
you do the heart eye emoji.
No, like if it's like because like somebody recently, whatever, like he loves music. I love music too, so he'll like put a song. I'll be like, okay, what you know about that? Start a whole conversation.
A whole combo.
Okay.
That's smart. Now that's smart.
I started a conversation
with yourself.
No. I wish I could tell y'all this story, but I don't want the person to know. No,
Did you watch it?
He doesn't listen to us.
Clearly not, because I'm all right.
So tell us.
No, I'm okay.
You sure?
No names.
It don't need a name. It's quite specific.
I bet you're gonna get a response.
No, because
If
I'm
you
not
tell
telling-
us, he's gonna
I
come
actually
right.
no longer want to respond because I'm so embarrassed, and I don't get embarrassed.
Dang,
like
I can't wait for you to
wow.
No,
tell
I don't
me.
need your sympathy. I don't need your pity.
Oh no, he said I don't need your sympathy. I don't need your sympathy.
Wow, I'm good.
I'm just trying to figure out who.
I'll tell
trying.
you a story
Dang.
later. Oh my God, I'm getting hot and
Just give me the first letter.
I'm not doing
The
it.
last letter of his first
No.
name.
We'll save it for a challenge. We'll save it for a challenge.
Save it for a
Okay,
challenge. I'll
all
tell y'all
right.
the story. Oh my God.
I love a good story time. So
I feel like this is really good.
It's not that deep. You know who it is. We've done this
I
before.
can't think.
It doesn't matter.
Shoot.
this is why I don't crush on people like that. So
Right.
you know.
All right. So to wrap it up, how can we be more?
Wrap it up.
How can we be more intentional about loving ourselves and like putting ourselves first when dating and keeping our priorities and what we want first?
So being intentional and putting yourself first, I feel like that goes with when you're putting yourself first, I feel like there's not a way that you can actually date because I don't feel like you know what you're looking for or what you want because you're not even sure of yourself. You know, so after me and my ex broke up, me and him were together for about 2 years, and I didn't date for quite some time because like he was like part of like my identity. Every time you seen me, you seen him. So I felt like I lost a part of myself. So I didn't date for quite some time, and then I kind of got into dating. After like I was more secure of like me because I was insecure like because I'm like how do you like give up like 2 years of a relationship over something so small and trivial as that. So I feel like if you're not, you know, like if you don't know yourself well enough, you should not be out there trying to date other people because like you're destruction right now. Like you're not adding to that person. That goes for women and men. Like do not try going out and trying to date if you don't know who you are as an individual. And then when it comes to, you said it was finding your like being. Hold on, I'm trying to remember the question. It was a very like in-depth question.
I don't remember what
She don't remember.
I don't recall.
Because I think you said something about you know, knowing what you want when dating or knowing who you are when dating. One of those. But knowing what you want when dating is basically for me you have 3 red flags. So like if you have 3 red flags for me, I will drop you because I feel like you can't be, I guess, not even passive, but it's like, oh, I'm going to ignore it. You can't do that when it comes to dating because when things get tough and y'all start arguing, he's like, well, I've always been like this. And you know he was because you seen those first couple of flags and you ignored it. So now you're into a situation because you feel like you invested time into that person, invested your body, invested your emotions, and now you don't want to get out.
Right.
And I'm the type of person that will, for me, time is an illusion because I'm not going to, if I wasted 3 years with you and I'm miserable, I'm going to leave you. I don't care about the 3 years we wasted because why would I waste more time with you thinking I can fix you?
Just talking about that.
Oh wow.
we were just
I can't. I just don't agree with that. So like I feel like if you have a list of, like I was saying, requirements of, you know, you want a man to be like this. You want a man who's patient. You want a man who's kind. You want a man who's loving. But you see like this man, he gets impatient when you guys are in line waiting to be seated. Then you already know that he probably has a hot temper. So you already know he's probably gonna. I'm not saying most men who has a hot temper are going to put their hands on you, but you know that you guys might get into a yelling match, and you don't know what can happen when you're both heated in a moment. He might punch a wall. He might throw something. You don't want to be in that. So like different things you're gonna want. If you do see something that's a red flag that are requirements, you need to let it go. And then keeping with yourself is like after you are sure and full of yourself and you are loving yourself, because self-love, I tell people all the time, that journey is it's a never ending journey because once you reach a new level of yourself and you get to know yourself, it's like, wow. And then it's like you learn new things about yourself, you know? So, because for me, I feel like I've been on this journey for about like 4 years. 4 years. So it's like never ending,
Yeah,
but
it's ongoing.
it's ongoing. So it's like you like an epiphany happens. You're like, wow, this is who I am.
Yeah.
And you change or you become a better version of yourself. And it's like, oh, I can be it's like always reaching.
You're always
heights.
discovering.
Exactly.
yourself, yeah.
So I feel like once you're really secure in yourself when dating, it's like, it's easy because those requirements you're not going to waver from. You're like, oh no, that's not happening. You're gonna you're not going to go for it. So,
I agree.
Ooh, this was really good.
It really
Thank you.
was.
I love what you said about time being an illusion because we were literally talking about that. Like people are so stuck on these.
We
long
were together for 5 years or
Yeah.
6
That means
years.
nothing.
Right.
And I'm in my head, I'm like, if you guys were together for 5 years
And it didn't work out.
and
It's not working
in those 5 years you were miserable and he put you through, you don't know what makes you think the next 5 years is going to be better. you're wasting your time.
Because there's a little thing that is called hope.
Can't give.
Fuck a nigga named Hope.
Yes.
You can't have hope for situations that are dead.
Ooh.
How can you? And then people
All
like,
right, ma'am, you are preaching now.
Right.
you can't have hope for a situation that is dead,
Yes.
especially for a person who acts like they do not care,
Right.
Or they
it's
don't
not
want to
acting,
change.
They don't
They
care.
just
and
don't.
They don't want to change.
They don't. Like, you have to, like, I tell people all the time, if you have to choose between being alone or being alive, and here's my thing. You could be alone in a relationship, right? I don't care how long y'all were together.
That's the worst feeling.
You could sit next to this person and y'all could sleep next to each other and y'all could have animosity towards each other. I would rather be alone with myself than be alone with someone I'm supposed to find companionship with.
You sure you was in the car with us?
We was literally just talking about that. And I said that. And I was
Literally.
like, at least when you're alone and you're miserable, it's like your misery that you caused yourself.
Exactly. So, like, that's why I tell people, like, when people say misery likes company, it is true, because a lot of miserable people, they try to seek for other people because they're lonely. And I'm like, that's not going to work, because you're not going to fix yourself. You're going to make that person miserable.
Right.
It's not going to work out. So I'd rather just be, because when I first moved out, I'm not going to lie, I was miserable. I was scared. I was like, because I'd never fully been alone. I have a big family, like most Caribbean people, you gonna have a big family, like a whole bunch of cousins, a whole bunch of brothers. So it was my first time actually being alone. I was scared, because I was like, how do I know how to be alone?
Right.
And then I learned so much about myself, and I'm just like, wow. And I realized I have a lot, to give, whether it just be friendships or love or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, I deserve that. So I feel like you can't, when you're alone, you have to find something about yourself, like,
Right.
'cause-
And you need those moments too. You need to just sit in your own space and just enjoy it, Like,
Because I feel like people, they don't like the sound of being alone. Like,
They don't.
Yeah.
That's when they gotta fear.
That's when you go crazy.
Fear the
Yeah, I'm like, y'all need
insecurities,
to-
fear the thoughts
Yeah.
that they've been drowning.
I'm not saying people are meant to be alone, because obviously, like, everyone, like, people have companionship. That's why there's, like, we reproduce, and that's why there's
Right.
communities. I'm just saying that if you literally cannot be alone for like
Right.
a day by yourself, just enjoying your own company, there is something wrong.
Right.
There is something wrong. So yeah.
it's a journey. Life is a journey. So, we all go through it, and we all try to make the best out of it, So, yeah.
Thank you so much for coming on. You were such a gem. Tell the people where to
Right.
follow you.
You can follow me, either follow me, which is at Queen Baleen. And I know my name is kind of hard to like spell. So like Queen and then BILLYNE. And then, or you can follow the blog at The Everythinger. And that's on like Instagram. So Instagram is where you can find me. I'm Queen Baleen on everything. But,
Yes,
yeah.
Queen.
Thank you.
Yes.
I'm Queen Cass. And don't forget to follow.
You guys are hilarious.
And don't forget to follow me at QueenCast_X3.
And me at Queen Giddy. Oh,
You're
Giddy
so
Love Jam.
annoying. You're so annoying. And don't forget to follow us on IG at on Good Intentions Pod, and on YouTube on the Good Intentions Podcast. Thank you guys so much. Thank you again for coming. Bye.
Toodles.